Alright, Algebra 1, we're going to be continuing with our adding and subtracting polynomials here in section 2.1b. So let's review what we covered in 2.1a with adding polynomials. So I'm going to be showing you another method in doing these problems here today, but let's go back to what we did on Friday. So first thing that we did was we took and we put our first one in a column. We just kind of listed them. So 4a to the third minus 5a squared. I left a little space here because we didn't have an a term and we do have an a term here, so I just left a little gap so when I make my columns there's a space for that. And then I listed my second ones, again putting them in the columns with those correct terms. So I put my 2a squared in the column with the 5a squared, and then the 4a I put here in this column. There was no a term in that first one, and then I put the minus 6 with the 8. And then I simply just added my columns together, so 4a to the third, there's no other term to combine that with, so that just came down. Negative 5a squared plus 2a squared, remember we just combined the numbers out front. Negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. I brought the 4 down. 4a with nothing to combine with is just 4a, and then 8 minus 6 gives you 2, so there is your final answer for our bell ringer. Now what we are doing today is just subtracting, and that is really just adding the opposite. I know we've talked about that before with our order of operations. Adding the opposite is just the same thing as subtracting. So we're going to talk about that with polynomials, and it's really the same thing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to recopy this first one. Okay, so 2x to the third plus 4x minus 6x, and again I know we got like terms there that could be combined together. So this is the same thing as going back to what we had talked about in the previous notes. This would be, if this is a minus, all that means is we go through and change all of these signs. So this would be a minus 4x to the third, or a negative 4x to the third, a plus 3x squared, and a minus 5x. And that right there is the only thing that's new for these notes. Now this looks exactly the same thing as what we did in 2.1a, and we go through and do the same thing. So I'm going to make up my columns. I have an x to the third column. I have an x squared column with nothing in it. And then I have an x column, so plus 4x. And then I'm also going to put my minus 6x in that column, so these two will actually be in the same column, even though they are in the same set of parentheses. And again, I will be showing you a different way of doing that here in another example or two. Now in my second set of parentheses here, let's put those in the column where they belong. So I have a minus 4x to the third and a plus 3x squared. So that'll go in that x squared column. There's nothing here from that first set of parentheses. And then I have a minus 5x. And again, we use our calculator and just enter the numbers out front. So over here, 2x cubed minus 4x cubed, all I'm going to do is 2 minus 4, that's negative 2x cubed. 3x squared, nothing to combine with that, so plus 3x squared. And then over here, I have 4x minus 6x, that's negative 2x, minus 5x, so that's a negative 7x. And there you go, that's your final answer. So as you can see, we're not really doing a whole lot new. There's not a whole lot of extra stuff that we're doing. It's just this negative is just going to change all the signs inside here. Don't forget to you don't want to miss any. Don't forget you have to change all of them. It's just not one. Usually some people just do the first one and forget the other two, but you have to remember everything gets changed. Okay, so let's look at the second one here. I have this one done, so just follow along here. I didn't recopy the first one. You can recopy that first one if you want to. 4x squared. The first one doesn't change. It's just the second one. So plus, and then we have that negative x squared minus 2. So I made my columns 4x squared minus 6. And then I had the negative x squared minus 2. And then I remembered that this is a minus 1, so 4 minus 1 is 3. Negative 6 minus 2 is a negative 8. Common mistake I see there is people say, well, negative 6 minus 2 is a negative 4. That's not what we get there. Negative 6 minus 2 is a negative 8. Okay, so 3x squared minus 8 is what you get on that one. Alright, so let's look at this next one. And again, if I'm going too fast, feel free to pause the video, rewind, whatever. You guys know the drill. Feel free to back up at any time or pause the video. Alright, let's see what we get here. So, first up, negative 7. Well, let me go ahead. That's just recopying the first one there. So this would be plus, if we rewrite this, change all these signs. So 6a squared minus a minus 4. Okay, so I didn't recopy this first one. I just started putting it in the columns. So negative 7a to the third. Again, I left a blank for the a squared because I didn't have one. 3a came down, and then the minus 1 came down. All right, so let's see my next row here. 6a squared, positive 6a squared plus 6a squared, minus a in that a column, and 7a to the third comes down. 6a squared comes down, nothing to add that together with. This, again, just the minus a is like minus 1a. If you want to put that there, you can. It's not necessary. So 3a minus 1a is 2a. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. So there's your final answer. All right, the next one here, I just did one step because I want to show you, this is the one I want to show you a different method. Instead of putting it in columns, some of you may find this a little bit easier, and some of you may like to just keep doing it in columns. And if you want to keep doing it in columns, that's fine. I just want to show you another way of doing it because I know some people may like to do it this way. So, when you're adding like terms, look for your highest power. So first of all, let me back up a step. All I did was recopy the first one, negative 5b to the fourth, b squared. I changed all my signs here, so this would be a minus b to the third, a minus 8b squared, and a plus b. Okay, so that's my first step. Now I'm adding, or I'm sorry, now I'm going to, instead of putting them in columns, I'm going to add my like terms, okay? So first of all, I look for my highest power. Remember, we want that, that's called descending order. So I want my highest power first. So negative 5b to the fourth. There's only one b to the fourth term. So I'm just going to bring that one down. Now I'm going to cross it out so I remember that I already used it. So next I go down to my b to the third. Well, we got the same thing here. There's only one b to the third term, so I'm going to bring that one down. Negative b to the third, and I'm going to cross it out so I don't forget about it. You also want to remember to bring the sign in front of it. That's a minus sign, so that minus sign comes down. All right, so here we go. I have a b squared and a negative 8b squared. These are like terms, so I will add the numbers in front. 1 minus 8 is a negative 7b squared. And then I have this b by itself, so plus b. So that's your final answer. Okay, so this is, again, it's just another method of doing it. I am going to do the last problem. I'm going to do the last problem like this one as well, just to give you another example. Those of you that want to do it this way, I want to show you another example of it. We've done a lot of examples of the columns, so those of you that like the columns, you have a lot of examples to look at, but those of you that want to do it this way, I'm going to show you another example. So let's do this last one here real quick. So the perimeter of this pentagon below is 25x plus 8. And what we want to do is we want to find out what is the length of this missing side. So we know that perimeter is what I get when I add up all 5 sides. This is a pentagon, it has 5 sides. So if I add up this side and this side and this side and this side and this side, they all added up have to equal 25x plus 8. So in order to find the missing side, I have to take 25x plus 8 and subtract the sum of side 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so that's what I did here. I took 25x plus 8, which is my perimeter, and I subtracted the sum, 1 side plus 2 side plus 3 side plus 4 side. And I did the next step for us. I distributed that negative through, so minus 4x, minus 5x, minus 2, minus 5x, plus 4, minus 6x, plus 8. Okay, so I took, again, let me just recap. I took my perimeter, which they told me was 25x plus 8, and I subtracted the sum of the other 4 sides, and this will give me my 5th side, this question mark here. Okay, so when I do all of this work here, it will give me my my final answer for that 4th side, or I'm sorry, the 5th side. All right, so first of all, let's go through. Now this one, if we make the columns, this is a good example for a problem to not do the columns, because this is, you know, there will be a lot of problems, a lot of terms in the columns. So let's go through and see what x terms we have. Well, I have a 25x, and we're going to use our calculator here. 25x minus 4x minus 5x. We got another minus 5x, and then we have a minus 6x. Well, let's see what we get there. If you use your calculator, do 25 minus 4 minus 5 minus 5 minus 6, and you should end up with 5x. And then we're going to take our other number. We have 8 minus 2 plus 4 plus 8. Okay? So what do we get there? Well, 8 minus 2 would be 6, plus 4 would be 10, plus 8 would be 18, so plus 18. So that would be the length of that question mark side right here, okay? That would be the length of that side. Okay, and again, as always, if you have any questions on this, send me an email or a private comment, or you can rewind the video, watch them over again. Just let me know if you have any questions.